Hi everyone, Aidan here at the Trailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Yakima FrontLoader wheel-mounted bike rack and seeing how it fits on our 2018 Ford F-150. This is going to be a roof-mounted bike rack, but you can see we've got it over our bed today. Really, all this needs is a set of crossbars to attach to, whether that's a roof rack, ladder rack, or an over-the-bed rack like we have today. It's going to be a great way to mount your bike up. And personally, I think this is going to be the ideal way to use a bike rack on your F-150, because depending on how you're mounting this up, this might be your only option. Today we've got an F-150 with a tonneau cover on it, so something like a tailgate pad isn't an option if we have that tonneau cover closed. We've got a ball mount in the hitch, making a hitch mounted bike rack not a good option. And with any sort of roof rack options, it's going to be a really tall distance to lift up. Having it just over the bed here keeps all those other things usable and keeps it accessible to us. Let's check it out. Like I mentioned, this mounts up to a set of crossbars. We've got a hand knob clamping around the back crossbar, completely tool-free, keeping it nice and tight there. And towards the front, we've got another hand knob where it's going to clamp side to side around the crossbar, and it is locking, keeping everything tight on the crossbar and secured. There's a back wheel strap holding that back tire down. And the main way this is holding it is by the front tire, where we've got two wheel hoops that clamp around and tighten to that wheel, making this a nice strong fit. There's a little bit of side-to-side movement, but really not much compared to other roof-mounted bike racks that I've worked with. This is pretty much the same, very solid, and it can support up to 40 pounds of bike. Now, if you've got your crossbars really narrow together, it might only support a 30-pound capacity, but that just depends on your crossbar spread, how wide apart they are. And I think for most people on an F-150, you're probably going to be wide enough that you don't have to worry about it, but do measure it out and check it out to make sure you've got a wide enough crossbar spread. Now, with the way this is holding the bike by the tire, we're not making frame contact. So that makes this a good option for carbon frame bikes and alternative frame bikes. So depending on what you're carrying, you should have those options all set and ready to go. The back wheel strap can push a button and be released. That's going to ratchet into place and tuck out to the side whenever you're done with it. And you can see here that sliding back and forth that we get to accommodate for different wheelbases. And then towards the front, that's going to be the main thing we need to do to get the bike unloaded. So keep a hand on the bike frame and go to this hand knob at the back and start to loosen that up. And we'll see this back hoop start to loosen up a bit. And what we actually want to do once this is fully loosened is just wheel the bike back. That front cradle and that back hoop will sort of pivot to the point where we can finally just grab this and lower it down the rest of the way. And I'll walk up to it again so you can see that pivoting action on the front tire. Just set that front tire into place and push it forward. And that's what gets the whole process started. And then we can tighten it down with that hand knob to secure it and let go. But I'll just take this down the rest of the way to start now. And when you're done, that front hoop will just fold up nice and flat for easy storage, and you're ready to hit the road. Now, one thing you've probably noticed is there's some things on here that look like they're a bit faded, and that's because this isn't one that's brand new. This bike rack and the one on the other side of the truck have been on this person's vehicle for a long time, and they've been being used. So it's seen a lot of elements and wear and tear. And I've got to say, aside from the color fading, really not much has aged. Everything moves smoothly, all the different pieces that I would expect to operate a certain way, all the threaded bolts, all the moving parts, they're smooth. And they still work just like they should. So although there is some color fade to be seen, that's pretty expected and normal for a bike rack, especially on the plastic components. I'd say this has held up to the test of time quite well. And when considering a bike rack for your F-150, if you settled on this style of bike rack, I think it's going to be a great option. Personally, over a hitch mounted rack or a tailgate pad for a truck, if you've got a system like this set up, or you've got an over-the-bed rack, this is great because we're not adding near as much height to our vehicle as we would mounting this to the roof or a ladder rack, and we're not adding on any length to the back of the vehicle like we would with a hitch mounted rack. It leaves your bed completely accessible underneath, and it's perfectly reachable from the ground without the need for a step stool or a step ladder or anything like that. But as far as this is concerned, I think it's going to be a really solid option from Yakima. It doesn't make any frame contact with the bike, good for a wide range of bikes. You've got options to add locks for the cable lock if you need to, and it's going to work really well on our 2018 Ford F-150. Thanks for watching.